It's 5:18. We have everybody as well, so we can just jump right into it. Are there any changes to the current agenda?
I believe so. Do we have anyone online, Mark, other than?
Nope. Okay, with no changes, then we'll move right on to Mr. Mark Lee. We can jump ahead if you'd like.
I'm gonna promote it now.
Turn my mic off. Okay. So last time we reviewed I think I brought the three-dimensional model. We're kind of spinning around and seeing it with a fairly crude rendering of what the building is. But there's a lot more, give you, I think, everyone a lot more of an understanding of what it is. I'll just open up really quickly what that looked like, and then the advancements from then to now. And where we're going. And so I think, as we all know, the intent is to get our coordinate our material so that it's sent to the select board by Wednesday, Mark, I think. Or
Yeah, you could have it by like 3 Wednesday afternoon.
Yep. So we're in good shape. This. Coming up, there we go. So I think everyone saw this last time, and it showed the primary volume right here with the lobby space with a glassy entrance, and we have the admin offices above. We have kitchen and support spaces below, and then we have the fitness room up above and multi-purpose room below on the corner. And then we have a pool volume over on this side, and the locker rooms are in the middle here. And so, so that's largely an L-shaped building. It's a contemporary building, but it's somewhat contextual. It's even, I think, probably pushing a little more contextual since then. And so, I'm going to share an update on the rendering to this point now, which is our effort from then to now. And so that one is starting to show in a more photorealistic capacity. We're making modifications to it now, but that's a further evolution of the design itself. And so it gives you a sense of where the transparency is, the scale of some of the elements, and the materiality to a greater extent as well. So
That looks real.
it does. Could be. This is it, folks. This is your.
That's already done.
You've been busy the past 2 weeks.
And so, but we're tweaking it a little bit more just to make some enhancements. And we're keeping the red brick throughout. We feel like that red brick again feels very much like it belongs in sort of a building that is a community building, much like the complexes here. And again, this sort of transparency, that's a double height transparency, that's where that two-story volume when you walk into the building and the stair that goes up above, so you immediately see the connection to the spaces up above. Some community centers it's difficult to see access to the second level, and so all the functions on the upper level seem to get less attention or less inviting. So this one, the idea that you can see it as you walk right in, but also thinking about the fact that the building gets used after sunset a lot of times in the state of Maine here, and as our daylight starts to lessen, and so that'll glow. You can imagine this glowing at night, that you'll have all that light coming up from that entrance area, that really becoming a beacon and a lovely area to invite you in. So some of the things we're working on is just a little bit more on the signage. Right now the glass feels like almost like it's been pasted onto it, and so it doesn't look like it really will look like. Which the masonry wall is much thicker than the glass, and glass actually pushes in with it. So those are some changes we're working on in these two areas. There is a little bit of glass here that almost seems forgotten, and we're going to increase the size of this a little bit too right here, because this is visibility. So as you come up, this is also visibility into the pool. So it'd be nice to see a little glimpse of what's going on in the pool area right there, and you'll also see it here too, and they'll let a little more daylight into the pool space, and then this is where the spectator seating is. In the middle there, so and so that's largely, I don't have a lot, but there's a lot that went into getting to this point here. So, but we're doing another one that'll show it in the situation of the site too. So you'll see it kind of like what we looked at the other day as well. Let's see if I get that, but that's the other one that we're working on. It was in the model, but any feedback or anything as we move forward to develop this?
I have two questions.
Yep.
Regarding the parking lot.
Yep.
You said there's like 140 or 144 spaces, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct. Yeah.
So how many of those are handicap?
Typically, we're required to have 1% of the total, but they're not identified here. And so typically you'll have at least one van accessible space, as well as a number of others. And so I think we have planned there's probably about 5 to 8 that we usually plan for a scale of this project.
Of this size, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I couldn't remember, do we have anywhere in our planning plugins for electrical vehicles in the parking lot?
Oh, we haven't covered that, no, but
Oh.
we could even show something like that as part of this. We added a bike rack. That's one of the modifications we did. We said, okay, I think we should show a bike rack. We said, can you show some of the older members of the community at the entrance so that it feels very much like it's intended for all ages? But is there an interest in showing some electrical vehicle charging stations?
Well, I spoke with another town and they actually have it. I don't know, Mark, maybe you know how Topsham is with any new development like this. They're required to have some plugins for electrical
It's
vehicles.
currently being debated in the recode.
Okay,
There is one at the library.
Yeah.
But we haven't added them, say, to this building, because of the fact that I would have to start with payment systems and other stuff too.
right.
But I think that's a detail that can come later, you know.
Yeah, well, the only reason I ask now is they're around like $10,000 to $12,000 a unit, from what I was told.
Yeah, probably at least.
Yeah.
So I'm not so anxious to add them.
Yeah, and that just made me think, are there any regulations so far regarding it for Topsham?
Not yet.
Yeah,
So
okay,
it may come up in the recode, but we can deal with it.
okay,
later on.
okay.
And my knowledge of the revenue that it's generated at the library because you have to pay for your charging.
Yeah.
Is little to nothing.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get a check until it gets to $100, and I think there's only been one check so far, and it's been there for what, 3 years?
Although it's, I think it's well, I guess there's different levels, but I think it's
Right.
a level 1, so part of the reason one wants to use it would take advantage of charge card.
That's right.
Right, okay.
Is seeing the option, the back an option?
It will be on when we do
Okay.
that, the other one,
I'm just thinking about the light, like on the light on the right looks amazing, right? That looks, there's gonna be a lot of light coming in, and on
Yes.
the left, I
Yeah.
don't think it's as necessary because it's the pool.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, is it equally as light filled?
It is
In the
not on the, so on the rear,
You did show us a rear view at one.
correct.
I will say that in Wiscasset, one wall is all windows.
The front.
No, it's on the back.
That's not what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pool, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you wanna be,
And that works.
most of the time you're trying to use
Right.
diffused lighting in the pool area, cause the reflections off of water and things like that, so you have to be careful, even the lighting that we put in it, we typically do an indirect lighting that goes up to the ceiling, just again, you don't want water reflections off of the water. So,
And on the zero entry side,
Yeah, I
not on the
remember
left
now.
side.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It feels nice because it looks out to the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's a good question in terms of, how much transparency we have, and maybe there's an opportunity to put a little bit there, cause that's the side that is facing the connector, the other side, so.
The other side is what's seen by the connector, not the sign
Oh,
with the sign.
no, yeah, let me share this and take a look to see. Right, here we go. Okay. So this face right here, which we see a little bit of it, right from that front that we're looking at, this one has the bit here, but it doesn't have, right now we're not showing windows
Okay.
on that side, which we can add. Definitely, so.
I just want the indoor experience to be pleasant, especially for winters.
Yep,
You know,
yeah.
To have natural light.
I think that's the south side too, right?
Well, that's what I was looking at next, is to just understand, yeah, that's almost due south right here, is there's north, so you're right, so this is south right here.
And there are currently no skylights.
Currently, there are no skylights.
So when the time is right, we can talk lighting,
We
you
can,
know.
we can exactly get into modeling and seeing what the energy contribution of adding glass and its impact on glare as well, which is an
Yeah.
important consideration.
Actually, correct one thing I said, then I think the new climate action plan that was passed in May require some EV chargers, so.
Okay.
The zoning code doesn't do that.
Yeah, and again, on that, sometimes sometimes what we do is show, for instance, we show electric charge stations so that it may have appeal to the people who that's an important aspect to them, and so also thinking about solar panels potentially on the south side of the building, if you wanna show something like that. Even if it's a future potential, or that you're at least thinking about that as an option for the design.
And that might be important to know the return on investment with the solar. too.
Yeah, definitely, and that changes
Yeah.
as the regulations around it change significantly, but it's always been a fairly attractive payback as the technology has really advanced and the prices come down and so on. So it's always been less than 7-year payback for an investment like that, so.
a lot of roof.
It is a low roof. But the nice thing is actually, this is actually elevated a little bit. When you're taking it down to the 5-foot level, because of the fact that it's a 2-story volume and they're fairly shallow slopes on them, it's actually, there's a lot more roof than you even, that you even witness from this. There's some buildings you go that are this large and all you see is the roof. And so this, by having a 2-story volume with fairly shallow pitched, you'll feel even less of it. Like I said, I think that you can tell from where your eye level is relative to the car that's parked in the foreground that we're just elevated more than a 5-foot eye height, which is what we typically do. So
I'm comfortable showing that at the select board meeting. It's great.
well, I'll distribute it after, and if people have other comments.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
And Mark, you're staying for the working session on the slides.
Same.
Do you want to make a motion for me to join into the working session on the slides?
No.
Okay.
No, well, yeah, we could use Mark for Heather as well. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Mark, do you have the information on the cost difference of pool and no pool at the 2 locations?
I do have that, the information I presented a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Use that. Update.
So there are some gaps in this. Lynn and I met like a week ago and we've started to put together what a shell of the presentation might look like, keeping in mind that we want to tell the story of what we've done over the past year and that we are making some recommendations for what the next phase could look like. But this is our chance to kind of take this and feel free to tear it apart or whatever. So this front page is just addressing what we're talking about, and there's a small quote at the bottom. It's not technically a quote. We took everybody's feedback and once again filtered it into the lovely AI. And so all the comments that were sent to us, put them in that to come up with a overall community feedback, and said throughout each phase of the development process, the committee consistently considered a range of options, actively incorporated community feedback, and remained committed to their mission of assessing and fulfilling the community's needs and desires. So that is feedback from each of you that sent stuff over to us and put into a nice little mission statement. Does it need a period? Probably. Might get like a period. Thank you. Okay, this slide is exactly the same as last time. This is just our mission statement. Good to review. This one I'm going to retitle, but the idea of this is that when you're giving a presentation, we should really be kind of calling out right from the get-go what is our key aspect of this presentation. And so I thought this was a good place to do a reminder that over the course of the 2 surveys in phase 1, with 70% of Topsham residents had some desire of some sort of community center. So today we're going to review the items for the outcome of the committee during phase 2 and charges with recommended next steps. And then outcome I'm still working, but I think what I was struggling with today is that there needs to be a way that we're gonna say, we recognize there's going to be a cost, and our job or our recommendations are how do we make the cost meet the wants and desires of the community. Say that. What did I just say? Okay, I'll go back to the recording.
We recognize that there's going to be a cost.
Oh, thanks.
And we're working to identify a way to
To
balance
balance
the
the cost
needs of the community.
with the needs of the community. So this particular slide I'm still kind of working on, but I thought it was important to call out that we're still recognizing the fact that even though there's a cost involved, 70% of our residents that we have surveyed have indicated that there's a desire for some sort of community center. And so then the next slide says, well, let's review
Go
what
back for 1 second.
Yeah.
Select board is sentence above is 2 words.
Lynn always calls me out on that. Thank you. So then we review the previous charge. So what were we charged with? We were to work with town management to investigate potential land locations. We were work with the town in Harriman to initiate next phase of their contract, building a conceptual design. We were to assist in drafting ideas for funding opportunities, including potential local partnerships, community outreach, and other projects. And we were to review other local community centers to gain insight into overall operating costs, fundraising, and recommended management. So let's start with the potential land locations. What we did with that is we reviewed all existing town-owned property. We narrowed it to 2 potential locations, and we used those locations as part of the January charrette. I don't know if this is exactly what we want to call out on these 2 slides. Lynn and I picked the 2 pictures. They're not great, but they were the best of the best as far as what those pictures are. And we used the zoning tables that were part of one of the previous presentations that just kind of gave us the really initial high level overview. And then what we were looking to do is kind of dive into the charrette a little bit, but I couldn't remember a lot of it. And so I didn't remember if the meeting after the January meeting, if you came with a presentation to that meeting.
To the charrette,
No, after, the
Oh.
first
Our
town meeting after that.
after that.
To summarize like what we discussed.
Exactly.
Yes, we reviewed the different ideas that were as a summary of the outcome of that. We did that.
So that's what I was hoping we could get.
Yep.
So then my thought was to do that, and then our recommendations, and now we can move this slide to the end, because some of what I'm debating is, do we do all of our recommendations as we went through the process? Do we have Mark show his design at step 2, or do we leave Mark for the end? Those are some of the things I'm figuring out, but our recommendation is for the fairgrounds location. It provides easy access for students from multiple town schools, Highlands community, and many residents with existing and potential walking trails. Limited encroachment on neighboring homes, potential connection point for current and future walking trails, and parking for use of the trails. Facility needs to be a multi-purpose facility. Building near existing fields could be seen as a sports complex, and building near bypass will have greater visibility for use. So those are why our recommendation is the fairgrounds over Foresight. Thoughts? Should we change this? Should we move the recommendations down more towards the end?
I need to see the whole
I was gonna
presentation
say.
Okay.
before,
Yeah.
because
Well,
initially I
the
would save the recommendation till the end, but there might be a benefit to doing it first.
Okay.
To doing it the way you're doing it, so I would like to see the whole presentation.
there are a lot of blanks, because this is gonna be a working session for us to fill in some of those blanks. There's the one, for sure, okay. You like how I highlighted that? Question from Mark Lee, do we have additional highlights or head counts from?
We do.
Great. And so this is just gonna be a slide that's gonna talk about what we did on the day, what came out of it, and what led to some of this. And then we have some beautiful Harriman slides, okay? Whatever that's gonna look like. And I don't have anything in this that talks about the cost.
Right. Yep, so let me share our follow-up to do you wanna see that?
Sure. All our wonderful dots.
Exactly.
I need to stop sharing.
Yeah, I think.
I think I just changed the settings so two people can share simultaneously.
Oh, wow.
We'll see if it works.
See if it works. I'm sharing, so if you. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so this was the exercise to pull interest in various features in the community center, so. We, as a visual, but then we also tabulated what we heard first in the survey, so that we originally took. So here's the 125 forum. This was the survey. I'm trying to, there's something that's like.
If you go to the web, to the minutes of February 3rd, how a lot of the stuff highlighted, did you look at that?
We did, but it didn't give,
Have this stuff?
No.
Okay.
so we went to go watch the recording and this is one of the recordings that is missing on
Missing.
there. So, yes, we did look at that.
But it shows what the rank was, like without considering a tax impact, it shows the ranking was considering a tax impact in the survey, and then ultimately what was ranked form. And so for what it's worth, it was interesting to look at the, for the most part, the white ones were identical. The only ones that we that changed radically from the survey, just again, different sample pool or of who we're looking at, but a competition pool ranked number 3 in the survey, it was number 8 in the online survey. And then meeting rooms for various needs, for some reason, fell down to 7 as opposed to number 2. But again, what we do is we have, right now, we're showing both of those features anyway, so they're captured. But anyway, that was a sort of poll there. And then everyone's favorite exercise, where we had the different components of the community center and how we would organize them. So this was group number 2. And oops, this is how group number 2 had it organized, and group number 4 and their organization, and group number 1 where they would put it on. Also thinking about how they would put it on the site. It's kind of interesting to see. We're kind of close to that edge of the site right now. That's their organization. And number 3 in their organizational pattern. So that was it. That was kind of the outcome of the reporting back on.
Well, I think definitely the first 2 should be included in the appendix. I don't know if we think the block ones should be included.
I think that's
Especially
appendix.
because 2 of them are gonna be on properties were not ones that were recommended.
And I think this just may convolute things a little.
Yeah.
I think.
But I
we
think
just need-
this speaks volumes.
I think we just need a concise slide with the results, as you're at.
All right.
But do you think that this one and the table should be included in the appendix?
That one and the.
First
I think I do the table, but not the dots.
You wouldn't do the dots?
No, because I still think in many ways the survey is much more important than Charette. Charette was about 30 people.
Yeah.
You know, and the survey was about 1,000.
Okay, so if you could send just this to me, we'll put it in the appendix.
Does that mean no mention of the shred at all?
No, I think you forget to mention it.
No,
I
well,
just
still,
wouldn't-
I'll still use this to build out the
I
slide.
just focus more on the survey.
So I'll use that to do that, and then I have that Harriman is building out these slides, whatever they kind of look like. And then our recommendation is a 2-story building with an elevated walking track. 2-story to allow buildings to be multi-purpose. Spaces can be used for multiple purposes at the same time while still allowing visibility from both upstairs and down. Elevated walking track allows for greater safety and maintenance for those using the track during other events. And this design allows for the ability to include a pool or not, but allows for the space for growth, particularly at the fairgrounds location, I think that comes up. That's, we've already said that we're recommending the fairgrounds.
I think in the first bullet, will should be while. Oh, at the same time, while still allow visibility, yeah.
Is there any other reasons that we want to jot down for why we're recommending the 2-story with the elevated walking track versus the 1-story? And if you think of it later, that's okay too, I can adjust it. So then we move on to the funding opportunities.
I'm gonna just stop. One of the things that I think we were surprised by is when we realized it wasn't that much more expensive to do the second floor because of the square footage of the roofing and right after that information came from Mark, like it just, originally I was like, oh, 2 floors is gonna be so expensive, but it's different. It was surprisingly
Yeah,
cost effective.
yeah, and that analysis was, I was actually a little surprised because the surface area of the building wasn't significantly different, but the area was larger on the 1-story, the 1-story, that's ultimately where we're gonna get some efficiencies in the 2-story option, so, yeah.
Could you say that again, because I think we had regarded the surface area versus.
Yeah, so the surface area wasn't significantly different between the 1 and the 2-story. That's where you normally find efficiencies in going with a 1-story versus a 2-story. So in this case, just the way that the volumes work out, because you've got very tall volumes, that it didn't change the surface area much. So they were much closer, and that enclosure is where you sometimes will find that efficiency.
You're gonna have a slide that's got Mark's info on if we were to stage it, with pool, without pool, the cost. That's something that I had a couple select board members ask me about.
I think that's coming from what Aaron.
So that will be included.
Yes.
I think the other thing I think about the reason we did this is that walking track was number 1 on the survey. And we just couldn't get the walking tracks to be safe, and you have that for the safe, you have all the other information, but we kept going back to that.
The increase in cost was not significant enough to offset the two.
That's better, because then you're stating that you made a decision that the cost is not significant, the difference. So I like to do that. Because they're gonna ask what the cost difference is.
To keep the track on the first floor.
Yeah, we just couldn't keep the track on the first floor and have it safe. Really were not options to have it on the first floor.
I will play with those still, that's why they're all highlighted in yellow.
We can also say that in speaking with other community centers, their recommendations were elevated walking track.
You're just more based on satisfying the walkers.
And we prioritized the survey and the older population in that decision. To keep them safe, like some younger folk could walk around and, basketballs flying, but we really prioritize the safety.
We could say something like the safety. Even if I say older population.
With less mobility,
For
or
all,
something.
All generations.
For all
generations.
generations, yeah, safety of all generations, because, think about it, someone could come in with a stroller, right? Walk the
Yes.
kid around, so
Exactly.
all generations, I think is more
Safety
encompassing.
benefits of a 2-story walking track outweigh the negligible increase in cost.
I like it.
That would be the summary of it, yeah.
Say what?
Say again.
Yeah.
Heard none.
What did I say? The safety benefits of a 2-story walking track would outweigh the negligible increase in cost. Right? Does that make sense?
Or elevated.
I play around with
Elevate, yeah.
negligible because I think that play around with the word negligible because I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly
It
though.
was, I've got it here now, so we were,
Or the minimal increase.
Right.
yeah, 1.3 million total project cost difference on a 28, essentially on 28 million. So,
Doing that.
So it's
Still,
4%.
is that fine, yeah, 4.6.
yeah, 4.7, yeah.
so I would definitely probably delete the not a significant cost difference, since you already.
Oh yeah, everything in yellow reworked.
Yeah.
I just was writing down everything.
Yeah. Word.
What if we said something like the surprisingly limited increase in cost? I don't know.
They'll know what you're talking about, but I would change the 2-story to 2nd-story, otherwise they're gonna think it's a walking track on 2 stories.
I think we were just gonna say elevated walking track. Okay, you good?
Thank you.
Okay.
That's great.
Funding opportunities, moving on to charge number 3.
And we just, if I can just jump in, we kept it as funding instead of fundraising. Just
So we
because
were
that's how we've been-
debating,
Yeah,
when we were doing this, we were debating, should it be, the charge was written as fundraising opportunities. But we really focused over the past year on funding in all senses of the word. Might be fundraising, might be, all of those kinds of things, could be collaborations, could be working with other entities. So we left it as funding, but it's highlighted in yellow so we can get everybody's input.
I personally think it's fine keeping as funding because we actually did more than just considering fundraising opportunities. We included fundraising, but we also included other opportunities to get additional funding. So if anyone questions it, I think we can say that.
Okay.
Just my reasons.
The bottom left.
Yes.
Preliminary documentation of local business and contact information. I took Cece's words to heart. She told us about a couple weeks ago to get going on things. And I did ride around town. Don't tell Tad how many loops I made around town, but I did come up with 248 businesses and addresses in town.
Wow. Okay.
And at some point, I'll want your input on there to see if you know of any owners or managers, or we could add more of a personal touch if you knew their first names. I have typed up 248 businesses in Topsham. And who said there weren't that many businesses in town? There was a lot, Mark.
I guess you're right, yeah.
Wow.
And I
Mark
just
wants the list when you're done.
for fee, you guys are for fee.
That's great, Kathy.
So the boxes of what we did with regards to funding opportunities is we connected with those interested in participating in fundraising activities. We still have it as fundraising there. Cause that's I think we referred to it as, hold on, we didn't pull it.
I'm sorry.
Perfect. Do we wanna say participating in potential fundraising activities? Because I think that's how we presented it to them. Or
Yeah.
future,
Just say potential.
we met with potential volunteers to brainstorm what local fundraising could look like. We connected with 2 professional fundraising consultants on expectations with a capital campaign with potential costs. We have preliminary documentation of local business and contact information. We held fact-finding meetings with local organizations that could support and or partner with the completed facility and programming. And we initiated discussions with a grant writer. Now, my thought on this page is that they're gonna want us to go into a little bit more detail, whether even if it's not in the slide deck itself. I think we still need a page that talks about what we found when we talked to the 2 professional fundraising consultants. I don't know like how much detail we're gonna put there, but I think we need a little bit, even if it's in appendixes, I think we need a little bit more meat to back that up.
I would defer to you on that, Mark.
I think Allison's right. But in general, one thing just graphically is you did a beautiful job, these are all nice. There's just, some are too dense, I think. So if they can be either word shrunk or enlarged or something,
Yep.
or split things into 2 slides, but
Did you know that for every in-person presentation, it should be 24 point, but if it's in a virtual setting, it should be 18 point?
This is great knowledge
You're welcome.
that you only learned in class.
That I only learned.
Today.
4 hours ago.
See,
You're welcome.
gonna note that.
Yeah, I was working on fixing them,
I'm
but
thinking of the slides that we got from, the woman from Brunswick.
Oh, Mary Beth.
Yeah, there was one in there that I think might be worthwhile
Okay,
to
All right.
share.
all right, I'll jot it down, so.
I noticed on preliminary documentation, there's no verb at the beginning. What was the action around that?
collected.
For additional information, like to expand on this, are you thinking like, we put, basically how we talked about taking like a different multi-tiered approach, is that like where you're thinking of summarizing, saying, hey, like we were recommended and, discussed taking a multi-tiered approach, and we think we could handle these ourselves, but then we think we need to work with some professional to do this level and possibly this level, and
I think we need to, whether it's in an appendix or in another slide, depending on how long this is, because we already have quite a bit of content.
Yeah.
We haven't even shown any of Mark Lee's stuff. I think we have to have an appendix that says, this is what the professional consultant recommended, her estimated cost over, this time period would be this, and this would be what would be included. Maybe we have a funding opportunities that's just a 1-pager, but just highlights each of these boxes. Maybe it's connected with, 3 Topsham residents on such and such date, and we discussed these options. We met with, just 1 page that kind of spells out the information that we've collected. Because we can put numbers on here, but we don't know that any of the numbers are applicable until we know if that we're going on to the next phase, so I think that's why I don't know that we should go over it here, but I think it should be in our content.
another reason to do some of that in your content is I think what you're gonna ask for that night is, as we mentioned last time, multiple prongs. One of which would be, authority to hire, work with, someone to help with fundraising, so you need to know why that's important.
Okay, I think the 2 of us can fine tune that with the information that we have.
The questions that we before Wednesday.
Yeah, just to be the. Because like Pam said, which I had forgotten about, we had some slides from one of the.
When did we do
fundraising
that
consultants.
presentation to the select, because that was in the selectmen's presentation, what month was that? I was just looking to see if I could just grab it and send it to
Was
Allison.
it August or September?
When you and I did the presentation?
Oh, no, was it sooner than that?
It was
Yeah.
after we talked with her,
Yeah.
and we had 2 slides, and I thought we pulled.
I think it was August, summertime.
Yeah,
Summertime.
yeah.
But August was just,
That was just last month.
that was just last month, so it feels like it was
Was
longer.
it July?
Yeah,
I'm thinking it might have been July.
June, July, maybe?
okay. I'll look for it and see if I can get my hands on
Okay.
it. Okay.
Okay, do you want to continue on?
Continuing on. We also said that one of the things we did is we talked with other local community centers, and these are some of the key points. Again, Mark, I agree that the slides have a little too much graphics on them. I want to make them more concise, but these were just kind of where each one of the slides landed right now. So what we did is we listed out just key points that we wanted to call out on each of the locations. If we listed out every single point at each location, this was gonna be really long. So for Wiscasset, we called out the elevated walking track. We don't know if we wanna call out the budgets combined with the town.
Wiscasset didn't
I was
have
gonna
an
say, was
elevated
that,
one.
I don't remember, how'd you get that in there, I don't remember.
I just typed what you said.
I'm sorry, I was not clear.
Okay, do they have a walking track?
No.
Okay,
No, you have to walk around the gym.
do we
No,
wanna
the
say,
The two upper walking trails were Damascotta and South Portland.
okay, I have that.
And Beth.
Can I
Get
make a
back, yeah.
suggestion
And the back
about
one, yeah.
the layout of the slides,
Yeah.
since this kind of, since it's similar bullets for each one, could we maybe make the bullets that we want to, like the key features, make those the bigger font, and then at the bottom say, we visited these locations?
Yep.
Or something like that, does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
Cause then it's like, does anyone really care that they went to Wiscasset, South Portland, Damascotta, or are they, like, we, in this slide, we're trying to call out what we like about each one, not the location of it, right?
Should get it.
Well, no,
No,
but you know what I
I'm
mean,
teasing,
it's like, it's
teasing.
not the.
Yeah, so somehow to summarize it, just say in the in the 5 locations that we visited, these were the main.
Yeah, like the elevated walking track, the pool draws.
Yep.
Outside of the
Yeah.
town, and then, yeah.
I
Just
think
my
you
two
could leave out the budget combined with the town, because at this point, no one's talking about setting up a separate nonprofit or something, so I think it kind of goes without saying the budget's gonna be combined with the town.
So the pool, the elevated walking track. We said Damascotta had a recently expanded building due to increased membership. If that's one we wanna call out. Large multi-purpose room uses include team sports, local rentals and community events, and includes the stage. And then we also called out the kitchen providing an additional draw for rentals with close proximity to the multi-purpose room. And Brunswick Landing. Maybe then, and if we're gonna say the elevated track, we could put Bath in there too. But it wasn't an official visit, we've all been there.
Bath flag.
Okay, I can rework that stuff.
Yeah, because like St. John's and Brunswick both have multi-purpose room, so.
We can take out the stage, since we're not putting in the stage.
You have your own page.
Kind of intimidating. It's a lot of pressure right there.
I don't think we want to put either, and we can talk about this after, but I think when we review this, I think we should indicate that we've done this, which one we like the best that can be included in an appendix, and then what we wanna say on this slide. We drafted potential budgets based on, so I'm hoping you can.
I think an important thing to say on this side is that the goal will be to have a lot of the large percentage of the operational costs covered by program expense, program revenue. If you're paying for the yoga class, your money's gonna cover the instructor.
I think this one is what else did we do to promote awareness over the course of the past year? We created a TCC. That's too many Cs.
That's correct.
No, that's right, okay. Fact sheet with timeline details. We created an easy to distribute postcard to get the most up to date fact sheet information. Committee members were present at annual town meeting, May 2025. And do we want to call out the Times record articles with reference to TCC activities? I thought there was one, Lynn thought there was two. I didn't get the Times record. But you shared the article.
Well, yeah, cause someone, Kathy, wasn't it you?
Yeah, wasn't there two? I thought there was two.
Sorry, but is it?
I
was
could
it
actually,
you?
I've got a copy of
Yeah.
them somewhere.
I think I gave you the copies.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, wasn't me.
Two, we're sticking with
And
two.
I will verify it, but I'm pretty sure it's two.
Okay, do we wanna leave that in there? I think it's good.
Yeah, I think that's great.
so.
Yeah.
That's important.
And now to the hard one.
Cause it's been easy so far.
This and this kind of say the same thing, and what I'm gonna do is, if you remember our recommendations last time, I don't have the other deck open, but I can. We had recommendations last time where we said, based on the surveys we've conducted, our recommendation is that the town of Topsham continue to look for building options, land locations, blah, 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 blah. And then on the second page, we said, and we would recommend our charge to be. And so what we have, which is gonna need some Mark Waltz, I'm sure, but basically work directly with an architect, however we wanna word that, for an RFP for a schematic design. Work with town manager to assist in selecting or interviewing a fundraising manager, create a subset for fundraising specific. Continue to engage with all community members for feedback regarding this potential project. And then town staff, because these were all notes I wrote down last time, Mark. To work with legislation to have TIF status amended and finalized agreements for town manager to engage with conversations for fairgrounds. So I think that a couple of things is some of this is very specific to you. And so I wanted to have enough of what the committee should be doing over the next year, if this is our recommendations.
I leave the TIF part out, that's
Okay.
more of a behind the scenes thing.
Okay.
And I think if we're number one, then Mark, you jump in if.
Mhm.
It's not so much work with architect for RFP, it's develop and release RFP for. And is that the best term, Mark, schematic design?
Yeah, this next design is right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you want, like, to, ultimately, what that's gonna do is advance, the design, to develop the design further, right, so that's, maybe they understand that, to develop the design further.
Further,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, further than
Further price.
Just get rid of the last one.
And before we actually worked on that, Mark, because I'm thinking simultaneously, when we get the RFP ready, and we have it out, we have the responses, and whatever. Meanwhile, we're talking to the fairgrounds to try to nail down the site, because we don't want to spend money on this better design unless we know for sure we've got the fairgrounds.
Absolutely right.
I think it would be develop and release RFP to further develop the design for schematic.
It's a lot of develops. Yeah.
To further develop the
You'll
schematic
find
design.
it.
Right, to further develop the schematic
That's
design.
still two
That-
develops in one sentence.
To further the design.
Create.
And
To
release
further-
the design.
The building design,
Building design.
are we making it too complicated? No, that's two designs.
Wait,
Alright,
one of them you'll never get rid of, and sometimes we capitalize the schematic design, that's.
Okay.
Develop and release RFP.
You don't even have to put schematic design.
To
if you don't
further
want it.
develop.
It's a level of detail that if someone is familiar with
We
it,
gotta
they'll
do
know
it
that you're.
twice.
So
Or
you,
can you
I
do
think
so,
it's fine, they'll get
Me
your
too,
point. Personally. They gotta use one of those words
develop
twice.
and release RFP to further the building design, is that what you're saying, Mark?
You could eliminate that if you want to, yeah, now, again, what, this is kind of high level, just so they understand, what you're asking to do is to move to the next level of the design of the building.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
So is number 2 good?
so work with town manager to assist in selecting or interviewing for fundraising campaign manager.
Shouldn't we get the property done before we do, are we putting these in order? No,
I think we
okay,
simultaneously.
Okay.
all.
alright,
These are just going to be, what are the charges to TCCC for the next year?
Okay.
And when I first typed them out, a lot of them, which is why they were in bold, I was like, a lot of them were all for Mark. I was like, what are we doing?
Moral support.
Yeah.
Moral support.
Go, Mark.
I had a gentleman approach me at the Highlands last week, I went to their volunteer fair, and he's eager to work on help the fundraising, so he can help fundraise a bunch of people. So Highlands not having green.
So I think it should, now that I've reread it, work with town manager to determine next steps with fundraising campaign manager?
Yeah, my question with this bullet and the next one for the fundraising part, I feel like this is very specific, saying that we are selecting a fundraising campaign manager. I'm wondering, do we need something broader to say we are going to begin fundraising, like we are going to begin this campaign? Because right now it just sounds like we need to select somebody, but are they expecting us to then take the steps to begin the fundraising?
And that's the trickier one too for the fundraising, is because I'm still trying to figure out if there's any place we can pull money from. I'm not so sure there is. Whereas the design part, there is a place we can pull money from, because I made sure we put it in the warrant last meeting. So I kind of like the broader idea of the RFP one, also begin the process, the fundraising, set up a committee, et cetera.
Do we wanna separate it out with capital campaign and then a fundraising committee?
So are you saying,
I can tell you, probably town staff doesn't have time to go to 2 meetings a month.
Right,
So I like the way it's a subset, so the fundraising
Yeah.
committee might come join this group for part of the meeting, and plus people in this group may want to be involved in the fundraising,
right.
so.
so are you saying create subset of TCC for fundraising specific activities?
to explore raising funds.
My vision, or what I'm thinking, is the select board is probably gonna want some type of a deadline to see how much money can be raised, and a year might be too short, but I'm thinking 18 months might be better. So that they can then decide how anxious they are to put a bond out or something. So if this group, whether the subset of it, whatever it is, raise the money, it makes the decision easier for them later to go to the people and say, hey, let's do a bond.
Do you think they'll balk at the idea that we're thinking of a fundraising manager?
I think they would probably welcome it.
Okay.
Because the biggest scare of this whole thing is the 30 million. So if they feel like there's a plan, or this group's gonna work on a plan and you're gonna report back in 18 months with your results of it, I think it makes it easier for them to say, okay, let's continue until then.
What if we, Allison, what if we say something like create subset of TCC to manage fundraising associated activities or something like that?
And maybe rather than subset, subcommittee too, and add additional members or something.
Will those members have to go through the same process, Mark? As we did to become committee members here, so if I called John Smith and I said, hey, do you wanna be on our subcommittee?
I think it's however we set it up. We don't have to, I mean,
Okay,
we can set it up however you want.
okay, alright. I have a couple people in mind already that I
You could
wanna-
say like auxiliary, you could call them auxiliary member or something.
Okay, alright, I just didn't know if they had to go
Or
through.
or how about volunteers to assist the committee or something?
Okay, alright, I just didn't know if they had to go through the vetting like we did to be on this committee.
Well, I think the idea of the subcommittee, if we call them auxiliary members, is the fact that one of us, at least one of us, would have to be part of that, and then that activity would be reported at this meeting.
Right,
So they wouldn't necessarily have to come to each one of these meetings.
right.
How about fundraising effort by the committee supplemented with volunteers.
You want me to put that in there?
I'll let you wordsmith it however you want, but I'm thinking the less we call them committee members, the less they have to go through the
Jump through the
interview
step.
process.
Yeah.
And the less they have to, because some of these people may say, I'm willing to help with this event, I will help do this, but I don't necessarily want to be a member of the committee and come to every meeting.
Right,
So I think, so I don't think we want to call them committee members for that.
right. You know, maybe they wanna work on one event, but not necessarily
Right.
something else that's out of their realm.
And this
We
group
call
will
it
still be
subcommittee.
responsible for everything and answer,
Right.
but
Subcommittee.
they'll just be volunteers.
Just say
Right,
TCC
okay.
to manage fundraising associated activities.
So the other aspect of that is, you know, if, do we still wanna address, and how do we wanna address hiring a capital campaign manager? Because if we're gonna do our own fundraising with a subcommittee, with volunteer subcommittees, that's going to be something separate and different than a capital campaign.
I think it's fair to put out there that you recommend a fundraising manager be hired to assist with the capital campaign,
Okay.
because that's gonna be needed, because you can say bake sale's not gonna build this building.
Right,
So
right.
we need to do larger fundraising too, which needs professional expertise.
So if that's one of our charges, I get that we can go back and make that one of our recommendations. So our recommendations, and again, it depends on what order we put it in, but our recommendations are the fairgrounds location, the 2-story building, we recommend selecting a fundraising campaign manager. How would our role be when it came to a charge with implementing the campaign manager?
You will be probably again, I guess you decided maybe you don't want an RFP for that one, because you've already been doing some work and it's probably one choice. But you could, that person would be hired by this committee and answerable to this committee, sort of like Mark is, so.
Okay. Select and manage relationship with fundraising campaign managers?
I think you need to make it more specific, because that capital campaign is different than a fundraising manager, right? Because we
So
can,
we
we
wanna-
can do our own fundraisers, but the capital campaign is separate.
So fundraising activities are in bullet number 2. Bullet number 3 is TCCC to select and
Retain and work with.
Yeah. And then just say a capital campaign.
when,
Associated in the line above means D.
thank you. Oh, don't worry, this will come to all of you to proofread. Anyway.
I'll do it.
When we were talking about it, we felt that, again, thinking of the point of Ryan, when he talked about the fact sheet and stuff like that, that it's important that we continue in the midst of all of this to engage with community members. We need to find ways to continue to engage with them to gain that positive and negative feedback. Because we don't want to be seen as just for, we want to hear from our community members. So what that looks like, we don't know, but we felt like it needed to have a bullet point on it. So that's why that's there, but open to conversation about it. If we want to change how it's worded. I don't have to say all, because I don't think we can.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think it's a great point.
And the last one, it's really a marked one, but
It's useful to put out there, because they need to be aware that that's a crucial step in this.
Mark, do we need to create any sort of status, whether it be
Nonprofit, 501c3.
yeah, thank you.
I don't think so.
You may change your mind when you hear the rest of my presentation.
Well, I'm just wondering if that's part of the charge, or to look into it or think about it, I don't know, maybe we would.
I would, because of the fact this is primarily a town effort, I think it's more in knowing sometimes there can be heartache with the library because you have two masters. You've got the town paying 85% of the bill, but you've got the library board making all the calls of what's going on. I think, especially if the town's gonna be putting out significant bonds for this, the select board and probably townspeople are more comfortable having the town control this. So, I mean, if it was gonna do it all on its own and not be town money, then yeah, maybe separate nonprofit. But whereas the lion's share of this is, or a big chunk of it's probably have to be taxes, it should be the town control.
So does the town have a tax ID number? So if I'm asking someone for $20,000 donation, they can have that information to write it off on their taxes as a donation?
They don't write it off as donate, or money to municipalities is tax deductible anyway. So you could,
Okay,
you don't have to have a 501c3 to get a tax deduction for money to municipality.
but if someone's
Well, we
asking
do have a
for,
municipal tax ID that I
That-
hand out for anybody that
okay,
puts their
so
kid in program.
that's what we would use
Yeah.
then? Yeah, okay, all right.
And then the other thing I guess we can talk about with a fundraising consultant is, I talked to the town attorney and he's fine with us setting up a fund, and we talked about the fact that
Yeah.
donations over a certain amount will get refunded if we don't do it. Or maybe the fundraising consultant said maybe we're better off collecting pledges for that or something. We'll see.
Yeah.
See how they recommend.
Do we have to have as a charge anything about programming? For the programming, anything like that? Is that not this stage?
I think that'd be too much
Yeah.
right now.
Do we wanna change?
Cause you're
it?
gonna wanna build that into your pro forma when you start to take what Heather's already put together and cost out operation versus program versus administration.
And I think once it's closer to reality, then it's easier to go to the library and say, hey, maybe the teen librarian can do teen stuff for 2 hours a day, or go to People
Okay.
Plus and say, but at this
Timeline
point, yeah,
isn't
people aren't
that,
gonna really
okay.
wanna engage with us if they don't.
I'm just
appreciate
wondering
that.
if, I guess my reason too is, will anybody who's wanting to give money want to know any of that? So that's part of what my thinking is. That's fine if it's not, do I take that time?
Do we
Time
change
for that?
If you create a pledge form, you can have with preference to these, to
Great.
these programs.
Do you want to change the term?
I think 18 months might be better than a year.
Can we just back up a sec? Do you wanna leave it as town manager to finalize discussions with fairgrounds or continue discussions?
I
To
think
finalize it.
before we
Well,
spend
we do, yeah.
200,000 or whatever
Yeah.
it is on the schematic design, we wanna know for sure. you've
Yeah,
got
right.
agreement with
Okay,
fairgrounds.
okay.
Is that sufficient, town manager, to finalize discussion with fairgrounds?
I don't even know if we have to say it's particularly town manager, I mean, cause it's a combination of select board, town manager, you guys, just say, develop final,
Agreement.
work with select board and town manager to get final agreement with fairgrounds for access to the fairgrounds.
I will tell you, they were very disappointed that we weren't coming back for the trick or treat.
Say it again.
Is that where it was last year?
Finalize agreement.
Work with the select board and town manager to
Um,
finalize agreement with fairgrounds for access. Cause if for some reason we can't finalize that, then we need to go back and revisit the top of the hill.
And then the job will be to deal with the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Kim's heard it.
Okay,
all right.
so going back through, I have some stuff to fix on this one, which I will highlight so I don't forget. You feel pretty good about that?
Can I ask a question? The first paragraph under that. 70% of those surveyed. Because it feels like you're saying 70% of
Yeah.
Topsham residents, and it wasn't, it was those surveyed. And I just think factually, those are things that you could get pulled apart on.
So we have this, I will work with the design, we've got this, I'm gonna take this, make this look better, and then do we want the two slides that say our recommendations for fairgrounds and recommendations for two-story building, do we want that at the end? Because right now, we still have it that it's gonna go based on our conversation about the building locations, based on the charrette in January, we came to the conclusion that we are gonna recommend the fairgrounds location. And then it would go right into, from that fairgrounds location, this is the building that Mark Lee, and he would go into his specifics about that building. We're not even gonna talk about everything we talked about with the fairgrounds building, I mean, the Forsyth building. Does that make sense?
I like it woven in personally,
What
but
comes,
that's fine.
what comes after the Harriman signs?
He's gonna, so maybe that is supposed to go up.
I think, for me, I feel like it might need to be moved to the end, but I think the bigger thing before the Harriman is we should say a recommendation of both the location and the design.
Okay.
And then we should have the Harriman pictures, that's kind of, cause to see the picture and then be like, and.
Right.
It doesn't, the flat flow doesn't flow for me.
So then, do we want it to go, which would mean renumbering these, which is fine. Do we go potential land, fundraising, other community centers, and then recommendations in Harriman, put that at the end?
Yeah, I think it all
I think
needs to
so.
be
I think it's
before.
gotta flow,
the
so
final
that's how it flows,
recommendations.
yeah.
I think we should describe everything we've done and say,
Yeah.
based on everything we've reviewed.
Right.
This is what we're recommending.
Okay.
Again, that's just me.
Yeah, no, no.
No, I agree.
So your thought is to put these.
You are so good with that computer.
She's so good, she's got 2, 3 at home.
Okay. So then, I fix this, which is our key takeaway, and I make it sound a little better. We review this, we talk about what we discussed with the potential land locations, what we looked at originally, we go into January's event. Mark down here. Then we, from the January, then we say we also dove into funding opportunities. Appendix A, which will go into more detail about those, so one of the things we need is a backup sheet.
Yeah.
We talk about the visits of other community centers, and our key points were elevated walking track, pool draws increase attendance, multi-purpose rooms can be used for multiple events at the same time, kitchen provides an additional draw, things like that.
You're gonna highlight that so you remember to go in and.
It's down here at the bottom, but yes,
Okay.
I have it at the bottom. Then we say, okay, from fundraising to community centers, this is what we have for the budget. And this is, we're gonna just call it out and we're gonna pick one of these and we're gonna make that an appendix. We also felt that it was important to promote awareness. These are the things we did to promote awareness. Based on this, that is why we chose our recommendation is the fairground. Based on all of these things, our recommendation is the fairgrounds location. Our recommendation is this 2-story building.
Yeah.
Harriman's gonna tell you about the 2-story building and the Whopper, the cost associated.
I like the flow of that.
Okay.
I do too.
Okay. So then with that, takeaways are, you're gonna write something for the budget, you're gonna write something for the fundraising,
You're gonna email me the stuff from the shred?
Yep.
You're gonna see if there's the articles. I'll try to track down what we had. I looked back in the minutes for the presentation, like boards and committees, but there's nothing there.
And I'm happy to proofread.
Thank you.
I love doing.
One other potential funding source might be congressionally directed spending, especially with Susan Collins here, the chair of the appropriations committee. I know Brunswick's tried that for some of theirs thing, I think it got put off or something or other, but another way you might get spending.
Anything else anybody wants to add or change with what we have?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very well done.
I took no notes during any of that.
Alright. I just had, from Mark, that he was gonna send the table from the charrette and the financial info for the pool versus no pool. You said you
Yeah, I
had
can
that?
do that.
Because I don't.
I was gonna give you the full comparison that we
I love
developed, that way you'll have that little information.
Okay.
I wonder if there might be questions about when you wait to add a pool later, what the associated costs are with that too.
Sure.
Because sometimes for the doing it all at once, we talked about can be cost efficient.
Yep.
So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could put together figures.
a
More than
sentence or two
simply
about
just
that.
cost escalation, because you're talking about a premium to have an entire
So we need everything
contractor type work.
to
Yes,
Rose on
right.
Wednesday, Mark?
Well,
We need everything to Rose on Wednesday.
if I can get it by 3 Wednesday, it would be good.
Great, moving right along.
Can we switch 6 and 7, please?
I make a motion.
Let's do some updates to collaboration efforts from Lynn.
Well, technically it's Lynn and Heather, but, so, these are the, did I sent you that, right? Yeah. Okay, so Heather and I had the opportunity to meet again, with the Y, on the landing. And it was a really good meeting, they're extremely pleasant, they're answered a ton of questions for us, gave us some recommendations, and whatnot, so I just did some rough notes here, Heather and I did. And that's why we switched it, because that's why you have two different, potential budgets here. So just to go over stuff rather quickly, just to be aware of time. The biggest thing that she said right away, that our cost of salary for the aquatics director is approximately double of what the Y pays. So, we considered adjusting that. They said the lifeguards and swim instructors' average pay is $16.50 to $18.50 per hour. Minimum of 2 guards on at all times, the ratio is 1 to 25. She did say if we do end up going with a pool and it's similar to Wiscasset's, then we should have a separate guard on each side. The other big thing was the maintenance. They use a company that is in Massachusetts. Apparently, from what she said, they're the only game in town. They serve Massachusetts and all of the New England region. So that's weekly cleaning, water balancing, equipment upgrade and replacement, emergency repairs, leak detection and correction, chlorine alternative add-ons such as salt generators, ozone, ionizers, pool openings and closings, etc. So this company they also build the pools as well. So it's kind of like 2 in 1. They've been in business for like 20, 25 years. One thing I noticed from their website is they do not build, repair, or service vinyl liner or fiberglass pools. They said they work on, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's gunite pools. And again, in regards to the pools, they said that our cost estimate on chemicals should be increased, considering things like, again, the preventative maintenance. You need to drain the pool at least every 1 to 2 years, because as you're treating it, the more it gets treated, it becomes less effective over time. So you need to do a full drain and everything. They also thought that we were low on our custodial estimate, stating that the locker room maintenance is just really a huge part of the custodial aspect of it, especially if it's really busy. They also thought we had a lot to work to do to hit our rental numbers. Our estimates are currently double of what the Y does.
Yep.
Let's see. So, side note, does the town have an IT person or did they sub out?
So,
Okay, cause that was one thing that they mentioned is like the computer software for scheduling and, you know, membership agreements and all of that good stuff. So
We currently have a system that we use for registration.
Yeah.
That has those components to it. We don't. It's kind of, you check the box what you want and when you
Okay.
pay,
okay,
but you can buy memberships, you can do all of that stuff online through MyRec.
okay,
But I would count on somewhere around 10,000.
yeah, okay, alright. As far as potentially working in some type of partnership or agreement with them, it can be very fluid and very flexible, and it's all gonna come down to what we have for a building and what we negotiate to have. And that can be anything from, if we have a pool, taking over everything with the pool, running the programs. And then we could also go into, would we want them to run like the yoga programs or some other type of exercise type of programs that we may have in the fitness center and whatnot. So it's very fluid. So it'd be a conversation that, you know, the town reps would have to have with the Y, and it would all hinge on what we wanted to handle and the cost of whatever elements we would choose for them to handle. She did tell us, in addition, the Y USA has some specific agreements that have to be met when partnering with an outside entity. So Amy, she's the new CEO. She's gonna look into that and getting back to us. Then there would be an MOU, which I had to look up because I didn't know what that meant. A memorandum of understanding that would be agreed upon. She says typically they go either 1 year or 2 year agreement. And then they reassess to see what what programs are successful, what might need to be changed or added or taken away. Just some other miscellaneous things. We had already talked about the EV chargers. They highly recommended a director for the center, which we do not show in our budget right now. And lastly, if we plan on having the community center to be a heating or cooling facility during emergencies, then obviously you have to have the HVAC and the generator, and I know Mark's got that covered, so. Yeah, that was pretty much it. It's a good conversation. I got the feeling that they would definitely, well, she didn't say it verbatim, but she said they really want to get into the Topsham market. However, they do not have the funds now to build a facility. So this would be really a good opportunity for them to kind of piggyback along. Anything else?
I think you pretty much covered it. Yeah, just if we were going to be working together, it'd be to benefit everybody, not ever seen as competition, so.
Right, and
whatever
again,
the relationship looks like, she made that point.
right, and again, to make sure that we don't overlap. You know, for example, the Mark facility, you know, I guess potentially a pool is still on their radar, but it may not be for another 10, 15 years, if ever, because from what she told us, they're looking for everything there to be outside.
Which place?
Mark, it's the new I forget.
Oh, in
Do you remember?
Mid coast area
Yeah.
recreation.
Brunswick.
Yeah, on the old base, yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So that's why Heather kind of did a couple budgets, she did one based on,
So yeah, the first one that I sent out was based on a conversation from last meeting, and then I compared it to the South Portland operating budget that we had as well. And I had made some adjustments based on all of that, and then we had this discussion with the Y. And so the version 2 one has the adjustments. I didn't do anything with the revenue side of things, but I brought the cost of the aquatics director down. I included the benefits, which is why it's not half what you see on the other side. I adjusted that. I increased the maintenance and custodial staff a little bit to reflect that comment. And I increased the pool chemical line and then also added a preventative pool maintenance line based on an AI amount. So, and because she didn't give us an amount for the preventative pool maintenance. So I just did a quick for that. So those were the adjustments in the draft 2 that you can see. And just so everyone knows, it does have draft as a watermark. We just had some printing issues. So.
yeah, sorry about that.
I have a
Yeah.
question that might be in the weeds a little bit, and Mark, maybe you know something about this, but I understand that there is, the depth of the pool impacts the amount of insurance that you pay. Anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. Interesting.
I understand that there's a connection there. The deeper the pool,
Makes sense.
Sure, just higher risk.
diving, anything high risk, things like that. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there that that's something that may come down the pipe.
Do you want me to verify that, like with the Y or?
If you
Do
have
you
any
know that?
information, I just know that that is something that my friend mentioned who works on this.
And I think it only has to do with the diving board part.
Perhaps,
Just mean that
I
your
don't think it's a difference
original
between a 4 foot
estimate
or
of
6
lifeguards was correct.
pool.
Yeah, she said that line,
It's-
I don't know.
Oh, cool.
It's for the deeper water, but I don't know if it's diving related or not. That would be my assumption.
It just
But
did
I
it
would
on
have
its
to
own.
look it up.
And it may be further down the line that we need that information.
And like, she strongly recommended 2 custodians, I know Mark in our discussion, you had said 1, so I think we went with like 1.5.
I think she made a good point about the locker rooms, because if you're sanitizing that, so I mean, I would almost say I'd go with your version 2, because they obviously know what they're running. I question whether you get your, thinking of insurance, retirement, if you're gonna be a municipal employee, I question whether you get your aquatics directly for 91,000, but I mean, her other points, I think sound like good.
I don't know, I mean, that's,
I divided the aquatics director in half and then added 40% for the benefits.
So the actual wage would be paying them is about 60,000 a year.
That's what she said, it was between 60, was it 65 and 75?
yeah, 65 and 7.
So I think
If
it
you're paying
is-
75,000 a year as a wage, you're not gonna get 91,000 isn't gonna cover the benefits too.
So I should use more, I did 70,000 and then use 40%. Should I do more than 40% for the benefits?
40%, 91, 70% plus 40, it's gonna be more than 91.
4 times 7. Wait, yeah. It's 98, sorry. So that would have been 98,000.
Sounds good, use that one. Other than that.
It's my typo.
So would we agree that we're gonna have version 2 to be the one that's included in the presentation?
I think so.
And I think version 2 is an appendix. And so what I think what should be on the slide is just really quick bullet points on how we came to this draft fund.
Did she talk any at all about the fluctuation between the membership number, income with the pool and without the pool? Did she think that 100,000 was really realistic?
She didn't say much about the memberships. She mentioned the rentals, but she didn't say much about the membership.
Cause I'm in the rentals, it's only talking about $50,000.
Yeah.
But I was just curious whether she would think whether the pool would decrease the membership a lot more than that.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I'm just curious.
I mean, the one thing that we did say is that having a pool does draw more membership.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they agreed upon that. And I think too, you know, they've been doing this for, well, the CEO, she's been involved with the Y in one aspect or another, and now she's CEO, and she's been over 20 years. You know, so she definitely has the experience and expertise.
Definitely didn't say she did have that. All I was saying.
No, I agree, and I think the thing that makes it difficult with the membership too is because, you know, we don't know what we're gonna be charging, right? We don't know how any of that will be structured, we can, again, it's AI generated, so we just have to have a starting point.
If she said that she thought the rentals were too high, and I think Steve's making a good point that could be without the pool, it's gonna have lower memberships than the 500,000. It seems kind of hard to believe we'd be making a profit of 119,000 without the pool. So I'd almost maybe drop some of the revenues so it basically breaks even without the pool, and then the loss.
That brings me down to the key takeaways too. There's comment in there about pools are community favorite but costly, those kind of things. I don't know if we wanna look over that at all, cause that's gonna be an attachment or part of the documentation.
Are there things you wanna change?
I don't see anything to change, but I don't know if anybody else does. If that's the truth, if 1 and 2 are the truth, you know, it's important information to share, but if it's too strongly worded, then we should maybe not word it as strongly. Healthy surplus, you know, those
Sure,
kinds of
yeah.
things, I don't
Just
know if
with
that still aligns with the most recent information that we have.
I think we would just want to review them, remembering that our key takeaway is that the pool has always been one of the top things. So we wanna give the information in a way that would be comfortable to both positives and the negatives. Absolutely. I agree with what you're saying. Like, without a pool, the center can operate with a surplus.
A more significant, or
If we're gonna be showing
More
it as
balanced budget.
breaking even, do we even wanna include number 2? Cause there won't be a surplus if it's breaking.
right, with a more balanced budget, something like that. Or just take that.
Something like that.
Yeah, sounds good, on this budget, I'll see what I can play around. There we go.
I mean, I don't mean to oppose, if you
No.
feel like it can operate a profit, feel free to put it in. I'm
Right.
just, if she's telling you the revenues are probably too high, that would be better to not put that.
It's a good point.
And I do wanna, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think when you refer to membership, what does membership entail? A person versus birthday party rentals and that type of thing. If I'm a member, I kind of think I have a couple of give me's for that. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the hard, that's all stuff that you work out
yes.
in, as you go further. This is just to get a general sense of what you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanna go on the record saying that I honored what the 25 years of experience that they've had at the Y. And I also honor the people who are in this town of Topsham for that many years as well. And want to access whatever information, those that are available, not just you guys, anybody, you know, that we need to really access our people as we're moving forward on this, and how do we balance that out without over taxing those that are here And so I just don't know how that, I just wanna be on record saying, we are accessing the information from the Y, but we also want to access information from people that are in the town of Topsham, so. I don't know how to do that without taxing, without making it more work on already full plates. So just maybe information as we go forward on how to do that would be great.
Our staff's pretty weak, so you basically got our right staff
Exactly,
here.
I know, exactly, so just wanna be transparent about it, yeah. Thank you.
We also don't know if we do enter into some sort of agreement or partnership, what that's gonna do to the numbers too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but if we're doing it for a short period, the way I envision it, we do it for a shorter period of time until we get our feet on the ground. And then in time, we take over in whatever way seems right for the town.
I think it'll go the opposite way with the Y from my memory. That's okay.
Right.
Anything else? Budget or line questions, no?
Yeah, yeah, we have to make it seem, I think there has to be a change in the membership because the cost is almost 500,000 versus bringing in 185K. So that's definitely needs to be considered. And that's not even counting insurance and stuff like that.
Again, I'd say we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, that's,
So this,
well,
it's
this
just,
is just, for me, I think if they look at this and they might just say, wow, it's without a pool, so I'm more pretty.
Yep.
Even though that might not be the reality.
There was all the notes that she needs to make necessary changes.
Well, Lynn's done and Heather's done, so
Get hungry.
yeah, I get that. How are the minutes looking?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from September 8th meeting.
I second the motion.
Great.
All those in favor?
And our plan, we already.
So-
essentially-
well, so what I have is we have to turn the documents into the town by 3 p.m. on Wednesday. So we have additional information to be sent to me by Mark Leaf for cost associated slides and things like that, also the spreadsheets for the January.
Right. Yep.
Um,
What time, what's my latitude here?
Tuesday, 5 p.m.
Not much, Mark, not much.
It's not much, I know, we're down to the country.
if I'm the one sending it over, then I would say I'm gonna work on it, most of my stuff tomorrow night, but I do have a little bit of flexibility Wednesday morning,
So
so.
I get to you first thing Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
Or
that's fine.
or late Tuesday night, that works.
Yeah.
If anything falls apart, you send me yours, and say, this is where Mark goes, and he sends me his
I'll
part.
copy you, Pam.
I know
Okay.
PowerPoint well enough, I can.
Alright,
I have Lynn to provide overview for funding options, Heather to provide the bullet points and updated draft version to be included with the deck. And I think the last thing we have to decide is who's presenting.
But you guys.
You have to be one of them.
I thought
Do
you guys
I?
already
Do you wanna do it
nominated
or?
yourselves.
No, we didn't nominate ourselves.
We
Oh.
nominated
We're just-
ourselves to create the deck.
Right, I don't care.
You're highly practiced.
I think Allison
I
definitely
was
has
there
to
with
be
Alice
part
the
of it.
first time, I feel like you've been with her,
I was with her once,
so feel free to.
doesn't matter.
Take
You need me
the
to mind
reins.
go, Allison?
Can you do it jointly, the two of you?
We did before.
Yeah, that's how we did it last time,
Yeah.
with Mark.
Yeah, and then
I think you're a better speaker than me, so. I nominate Steve and Allison. Any seconds?
I promise I'll shower. Guess I gotta take a shower on
I
October
think
second.
you've been part of creating, I mean, you know, sort of.
That's all
the-
right, I'll be there, I'll be there. If
I just
everybody-
feel like you're putting Steve in a position, like,
doesn't
and
wanna
I
do
have all
this.
the backup.
If he doesn't wanna do it, he can say no.
Oh, no, I don't have a problem doing it.
Yeah.
Just making
Your
sure you
name's
don't
on the
think-
second.
I'm not, no, I don't have anything at night.
Okay.
Oh, I probably do have a soccer game, you're right.
I'm sorry, I know what it's been like trying to get you to do.
I was supposed to quit being a soccer coach this year and I forgot.
Then if it rains or something, then the whole schedule.
Oh, we're
gets
home
changed
versus
again.
Wayne Fleet, so
You
I'll
can
be-
be here by 6:30.
yeah, I'll be done by 4:30.
Do we need to set our next meeting after the select board
Yeah, I was looking
presentation?
at Pam's birthday.
Well, today's, I was considering Leslie's birthday.
Oh,
Happy
Leslie.
birthday.
Just saying when we're off the record.
Right.
You're on my birthday.
I mean, October 6th is right after.
Do we need to wait to know that, like, we're gonna get the next charge?
I think what we did last time is we picked a date and if all
Got it.
else
Yeah,
did not pass, then
yeah, so we have it on the calendar and if we don't need it, I guess we don't need it.
So it's either the 6th or the 20th.
I'd rather go the sixth while it's still fresh in our minds.
I can't do the 20th.
You would be good at 6:00.
I can, I guess, I haven't been told I can't, so,
Cause I'm on vacation.
that week.
They give you vacation, Mark?
Every now and then.
Trust me, he doesn't go very often.
I know. Are you traveling?
I can.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Wanna take Raj with you?
Still recording.
Trust me, Roger's not watching.
I'm better on the 20th, but I can figure out a way to make the 6th work.
Do we have a
Does it
room?
have to be a Monday?
No, I don't think so.
So what if we did,
For myself.
how does the
Tuesday.
14th look,
That's right
or the
after-
7th?
I can't do the 7th, but I can do the 14th.
I can't do the 14th. We have family, that's,
We have back-to-back weddings.
Unless it's
Yes.
family.
21st?
What happened to do it while we were fresh?
Yeah, I know, right? I can't do the 21st.
I could do later on the 7th. I could do 6 o'clock on the 7th.
I vote for the 6th or the 7th.
I'm just in Freeport on the 6th. Might go over by.
Actually, the other thing that happens in October is this room starts getting used for early voting,
Yeah,
so we're down to just the conference room for most of the month.
what's it look like on the
And-
6th?
So the 6th has the conservation commission from 6 to 7
right.
in the conference room upstairs. The 7th has nothing.
Why don't we do the 7th? So does that work for everybody?
I'll just
We
come when I'm
wanna do
done.
it,
I have another meeting, I'll just come when I'm done.
What time will you be done?
I
Roughly.
could probably do 5:30.
So do we wanna just do 6 o'clock then? Is that too late?
Tuesday the 7th at 6.
I mean, it's not like we're gonna have a huge agenda, right?
We're just debriefing, right?
Yeah.
I'm just celebrating.
Hopefully celebrating.
5:30 or 6?
We're
March
saying
celebrating.
6 o'clock is safe for me, it's a 4 o'clock meeting. but
Tuesday,
6
the
o'clock.
7th at 6.
Just a little more sweet.
Tuesday, the 7th at 6.
Like it.
Okay.
I'll put it on the calendar.
And motion to
That will be.
Okay.
adjourn at 7:02.
I move we adjourn. 7:02. Second, all in
Yeah.
favor?
Do I get
Then I'll just-
Jeff to schedule the door? Or will you do it before you leave?
Yeah, one.
Are we singing now?
I'm
Oh.
She's